In a Trump-Vance administration, would you keep the troops we have in the Middle East, or would you pull them out as President Trump tried to do in his first administration?
Well, obviously, we have a lot of troops in a lot of different parts of the Middle East. I think it's reasonable to support Israel as it deals with this extremely unprovoked attack from Iran. And let's step back a little bit here, because the reason that Iran has all of these weapons to fire at Israel is because they have a lot of money. And where do they get that money from? From the easing of oil sanctions and from the release of a lot of money that the Biden-Harris administration had effectively locked up. They released it. And the promise of releasing it is that somehow it would make the Iranians a better partner, would maybe get them a little bit more on the trajectory to being a reasonable country. That's not happening. They're just using that money to buy weapons that they launch against American. They're tightening them up. They're going in the other direction after making a big mistake. And that big mistake was to empower Iran financially to afford a lot of weapons that they're not firing, not just at the Israelis, but also at us. And they're also arming the Houthis, and that's obviously affecting global trade. So I think the first and biggest mistake, the thing that we need to change, is we need to stop giving the Iranians money that they use to make ourselves and our allies weaker in the region. But when it comes to Israel specifically, look, I don't think that we should be taking assets out of the Middle East at a time when our most important ally in the region is coming under significant attack. I don't think that would send the right message. And most importantly, it's not just Israel, it's us. We have interests that are important in the Middle East. We obviously have to deal with the Houthis somehow because we want to reopen the lines of global trade. Very hard to do that if we do a full-scale withdrawal. But if there's certain countries where maybe we shouldn't have troops, I'm willing to have that conversation. But, you know, you're talking about 14 different theaters, 14 different troop deployments. It's hard to make a broad stroke conclusion about the whole thing.
Will it be a specific question on Iraq, since the Biden administration said 2026, the year you have to make a decision on troops? Do you have a view on that at this point?
On Iraq specifically?
Yes.
No, I mean, look, I think we need to look at the situation. We obviously need to have a conversation with our allies in Iraq and obviously recognize what is the direction of Iraq? Are they becoming more and more allies of Iran? Are they becoming a little bit more of a good partner in the Middle East? So it's hard to say what we're going to do 2 years down the road because we don't know what the world is going to look like 2 years down the road.
Staying on national security.